Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Golfmonger Show. I'm your host, Brian Steff, and I am the Golfmonger. Hit me up on Twitter at Golfmonger, or here at the show at the Golf Director as well. Thanks to Jeff behind the glass for getting us on the air here. And we got a special guest today, Miss Desiree Walker, Desi, as you told me that you like to be called in her emails to me. Jeff, it says it's Desi in the
hey, you gotta
quotes
keep
in her
it
name.
cute, right?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. I like it. You are at the Golf Academy right now,
am.
correct?
Yes.
And your story, we talk, if those of you that follow the show and listen, you listened to us at the World Am a couple of weeks ago. Was the first time you came on and talked with us. You're new to the Myrtle Beach area, new to the game of golf.
I am. First, I just want to say thank you to Brian and Jeff for having me on. As you said, I go to the Golf Academy, third semester out of 4, and literally picked up the club for the first time last year. So when you talk about brand new to the game, I mean, we're talking about I still have my diapers on.
Yeah. Well, listen, the way we play around here, sometimes it feels like we still have our diapers on. So you're good. So you're, in addition to that, you're starting. It's unique because you're starting as a golfer later. Not as a kid. You've started a blog, road2par.com, road the number 2 par, and you're basically blogging about your learning the game of golf and the courses and just your experiences. Yeah,
when I started playing, it was like an escape. So I actually was 10 years prior law enforcement. Loved it, absolutely, hands down. But it was time for me to change up in life. And started playing golf, and literally, I just every day was like, I gotta play. Started playing at the range, like Top Golf, and then actually getting out on the course. And I'm from the Mid-Atlantic area, Washington, D.C. to be exact. And, we don't have a whole year to play golf. It's a very short period of time, and you gotta, you're out there until the sun goes down. So you're making the most out of all the time that you have. And eventually I got to a point where I said, this game is far bigger than what I'm used to. And I wanted to learn all that I could about it, from how to properly putt, properly swing the golf club. And I knew being a weekend or daily, evening golfer just wasn't going to do it. Then I decided to look into schools and found that why not come to the golf mecca of the U.S. Might as well say the world, right?
Golf capital of the world. That's
there it
what
is.
We call ourselves here.
So here I am in Myrtle Beach, attending the Golf Academy, and I finally figured out what a birdie is. I actually had like 3 the other day, so that was pretty cool.
3 birdies the other day?
I mean, we're not going to talk about all the double bogeys after that, but the 3 birdies definitely made a girl feel good.
I'd take 3 birdies in a round. I don't care less what my other scores were. That's great. So, well, we're glad to have you. And pretty sure that we're convincing you to stick around and do some more stuff with us and become part of the golfdirector.com family here. We have a lot of fun. Jeff isn't as mean as he seems. He's a pretty laid-back guy. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I like you, so
well, I appreciate it.
That's what we're going to do. So Tour Championship just got underway a couple hours ago at East Lake Golf Club in Atlanta. Pretty much the whole world is almost kind of just assuming that it's a coronation party for Jason Day to continue
he's in contention.
4 of his last 6 starts he's won.
Well, I'll say this. He's only a couple strokes back currently, and, East Lake is a tough track.
Par 70, very unique layout. It's one of only 2 courses on tour that ends with a par 3.
Wow.
I'll give you a prize if you know what the other one is.
Is it in Georgia, too?
No. Oh. It's the Old White TPC at Greenbrier in West Virginia.
And I should know that, right? Right across the street.
Across the street
right
from where you're
street.
from, yeah. The Greenbrier, where they play the Greenbrier Classic, the Old White course there is the only other one that they play on tour that ends with a par 3. And to me, what that means is some potential for some serious high drama on the 72nd hole. Imagine if the last group, whether it's Day or Spieth or Ricky Fowler or Rory McIlroy or Bubba Watson, a lot of the favorites this week, and a couple of them, and then maybe they're tied or just a stroke apart, and you're looking at a par 3.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, and
mentally that's a tough one.
Stick it in,
yeah.
to win. So it's These guys, East Lake's it's not easy, but it being a par 70 and the greens, they changed them a few years back, and they're very puttable, and I think they're going to score. I mean, I think the winner's going to be, double digits again. I think it's the way these guys have been playing. They're all so good right now, and the best guys are playing so well. Day, Spieth, Ricky Fowler, Dustin Johnson, Zach Johnson. I think they're all just playing. I don't think we're going to see a surprise.
Okay.
I think the last 5 winners of the Tour Championship also won the FedEx Cup.
Now, Billy Horschel won last year.
He did.
Correct.
He didn't even make it to East Lake this year.
Wow.
Billy Horschel was an anomaly to the system. He was nowhere near. He barely got in to the top 125 in the first to get in the first, and then they cut down to 100, and then they cut down to 70, and he almost won. He didn't. He played decent at the BMW or at the Barclays, the first event last year. Mm-hmm. Made it into the next round with the TPC Boston, which is the Deutsche Bank. Had a shot. If he doesn't chunk his 6-iron into the hazard on the 72nd hole at TPC Boston, he probably wins that week.
Right.
But all he did was follow that up with he won the BMW, and then he won at East Lake, the Tour Championship, to win the $10 million grand prize, the FedEx Cup champion.
Well, Jason Day just won BMW, right?
He did. Now, Billy Horschel it's been years prior to him, and it escapes me that the guy who won the last two in a row. Now, I've got some facts here about the Tour Championship. And it's funny, it's golf, but there's 18 things to know. I wonder why they went 18. Geez, there's 18 holes. I wonder why they went 18.
Yeah.
Right? And one of them right there said the player who entered the Tour Championship ranked as number 1, which would be Jason Day, has won the FedEx Cup only 3 times, surprisingly. Now, they've been doing it 8 years, so that's almost half. So I guess
that's pretty impressive, though.
But the last one to do it was actually 2009 with Tiger Woods.
Okay.
They are 2 players outside the top 5 in this week's current field. Only 2 have won the FedEx Cup previously. Bill Haas and Jim Furyk, and Jim Furyk's actually not in the field. He had to withdraw due to an injury, so technically he's not playing. But so listen to this. But you want to say Jason Day, the number 1 player, hasn't won since 2009, right? Jason Day has made 64 birdies so far in the first 3 playoff events.
This guy's hot.
64.
He's hot.
That wasn't a misread. 64 birdies.
He's on fire right now.
And Heinrich Stenson actually has made 60. But he hasn't even won an event. How about that?
Karma.
How about that? Well, here's the thing. He played really well at the Deutsche Bank, and just Ricky Fowler played better and beat him on Sunday. Jason Day, I mean, the Barclays, he just handled it. And then last week at Conway Farms at the BMW, he won by 6 strokes. He just ran away with it. He was 18 under after 36 holes. Nobody else all week got to 18 under. He did it in 2 days.
Well, see, I like to say that Jason Day kind of had he was born again. And I say that to say, at the championship out in...
at the U.S. Open?
Yes. And, I mean, you wouldn't think this kid would have come back from what he...
Vertigo.
I mean, that's crazy.
He didn't know what his problem was. Found out he had vertigo. Since they figured it out and he's got proper treatment.
He's on top of the world.
Now, what it does is it muddies the water a little bit for Player of the Year.
How so?
Well, because let's face it was Jordan Spieth. I mean, he won the Masters. He won the U.S. Open. He finished 3rd at the Open Championship.
True.
At St. Andrews. And he finished 2nd behind Jason Day at the PGA. Plus, he won the John Deere, and I think he won something else. He's won 4 or 5 times. I mean, they probably already had his name engraved in the trophy.
Oh, of course.
Jason Day now has won the PGA. Mm-hmm. The week before that, 2 weeks before that, he won the RBC Canadian Open. After he finished tied with Jordan Spieth for 3rd at the Open Championship, he finished in the top 5 at the U.S. Open, and he's won 4 of the last 6 events. So is it so clear cut that
Well, who's your
Jordan
vote?
Spieth is. I tend to lean towards the guy. I mean, anytime a guy wins 2 majors in the same year,
Yeah. Of course, you would think.
unless that to me alone is almost enough to
Right.
say you're the player of the year.
Right.
But it's not like he won 2 majors and didn't do anything else the rest of the way. He won 2 or 3 other events.
Mm-hmm.
He finished tied for third at the Open Championship. He finished second at the PGA. So in the 4 majors,
Right.
he won 2 of them, finished third and second. I mean, he's the number 3 ranked player in the world. But I think that if Jason Day wins this week,
Yeah.
and if he wins this week, he wins the FedEx Championship. So he gets the double dip. By the way, for those of you who aren't familiar, if you're not sure, if you're in the top 5 this week, like if you start the 5 guys that started in the top 5 in the FedEx Cup rankings, to win the Cup Championship, all they have to do is win this week.
My money's on Jason Day.
Like I think mine is too.
Yeah.
But if you finish the players 6 through 30, there's scenarios that have to happen along with them winning in order for them to win the championship.
Okay.
Like Jason Day, the top 5 guys have to finish
Right.
a little lower in the
Right.
standings or whatever. But the 5 guys, the top 5 guys are in the driver's seat. All they have to do is win. Doesn't matter what the other guys do. All they have to do is win. I think I listen to I think I'm with you that I like Jason Day this week.
Mm-hmm.
I think I do. As crazy as it sounds, if I don't like Jason Day, I'm not sure. I don't think I'm sold on Jordan Spieth, though. As crazy as it sounds.
Well,
He played well last week.
I mean, I'll say this. The kid has many more championships ahead of him. I mean, I'm like everybody else. After the Masters, I ran out and bought Under Armour everything. I wanted to be the Jordan Spieth model out there. You know, like, man, if I can just get there. But the kid, I mean, he's a class act, you know, and he's a great role model for the game. You know, he's a great sportsman. It is a tough choice because Jason Day, right along with him, class act. I think, was it the other day, he was just giving Ricky Fowler and Jordan Spieth a little praise into his own game. And at the end of the day, you know, you try to look for, you know, who's going to come out ahead on the numbers. And right now, Jason Day is just on fire.
Speaking of Day and these 18 things to know about the championship, excuse me, he right now is one of 6 players to win 2 of the playoff events. If he wins this week, he'll be the only person ever to win 3 of the 4 playoff events.
He's going to take it.
I'm not going to stand here and argue with you because I don't think so. I don't think I disagree. In fact, of the 8 previous winners of the FedEx Cup, 6 of the 8 winners won at East Lake. So they had to win the last event to actually win the championship. The only 2 that didn't. 2009, Tiger Woods, we talked about him being the number 1 player. He had accumulated enough points that even though Phil Mickelson won the Tour Championship, he was too far back.
Oh, wow.
Because Tiger finished 2nd or 3rd, so he was up there. And then in the very first FedEx Cup, Vijay Singh almost didn't even have to play. He was ahead by so many points. He finished 22nd in the Tour Championship and still won the Cup. It was after that year that they started reshuffling. And after Tiger didn't win, that they started reshuffling how the points are awarded in the playoffs, because guys weren't even playing, and were still had a chance to win because they'd accumulated enough points during the year,
right,
that they didn't even have to play in the playoff events and keep moving on. So they've made that tougher now because you get awarded more points in the actual playoff events towards the FedEx Cup points. So it'd be. So now it's almost a win and you're in. So that's why the last 5 guys that have won this thing actually won the event, because they've changed the scoring.
I think that's a great thing because, I mean,
you should have to win. It's playoffs, right?
I mean, that mental toughness has to kick in, you know?
You don't want to take away – the argument to that is what you're crowning is the FedEx Cup champion, okay?
Right.
You play every event counts in the FedEx Cup points all year long, starting from in 3 weeks from now or 4 weeks from now when they have the Fries.com, which is the first event of the next season,
right?
All the way around to this time next year,
right?
Every event counts towards the standings. So the people that will argue that the FedEx Cup doesn't really crown, the playoffs don't really crown the true champion, all they got to do is look to last year with Billy Horschel. He was not even on the radar.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And then he finished third at the Deutsche Bank, I think it was, and then he won the BMW, then he won at East Lake, the Tour Championship, and he won the $10 million prize. He didn't do anything else pretty much the rest of the year. But he did just enough to make the playoffs. But it's like other sports. So teams that get in the wild card, like in football, but then they get hot and they win the playoff, and then they win the Super Bowl.
Well,
so do they does not deserve to be Super Bowl champions? Of course they do. So, but golf is that, it's an individual sport, and it
is,
and it's weird, and because it's individual and there's multiple people playing, winning doesn't always define success.
Well, at this point with a couple of those players, Jason Day, Jordan Spieth, they're just staying in contention.
Yeah.
And to have that physical and mental capability to withstand setbacks and, not let that previous number 2 or number 3 hinder you from going at it hard again, And I think that's what's really setting everything apart, you're going to have a few fluke winners here and there, and not to call them fluke, they work hard just as anybody else.
I was going to say, the level of play on the PGA Tour, and we talk about this all the time around here, and the more you're around us, you're going to find out that not just the PGA Tour, but professional golf period. I'm talking about the web.com, I'm talking about the Swing Thought Tour, the Hurricane Tour, any of the junior tours, the fine line that it is between somebody playing on the web.com tour and the PGA Tour is so razor thin that it's not surprising to see these young guys win.
Oh, yeah.
Like right away, or guys you never heard of. It's not that they're not good; they are good. It's just there's something that they're just missing. But as soon as they can figure it out, whether it's they don't drive it accurate enough, they don't putt well enough, they don't whatever. Or they can't put it together. They can't play well for 4 days. They only do it for 2 or 3. But the level, most weeks on the PGA Tour, anybody in the field of the generally 130 to 150 golfers, anyone could win. And 10 years ago, you couldn't say that.
Oh,
and not just because of Tiger Woods. Not just because of Tiger
Right,
Woods.
right.
Obviously, if he was in the field, then that eliminates a lot of people. But because mentally they would think that
half
he
the
already
players
beat
now
them.
were in elementary school back then. So.
Yeah, well, see, that's just it. And that's another thing. You asked Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, Jason Day, Ricky Fowler, who they looked up to. They looked up to Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Just like when he was coming in, who'd you look up to? He's like Phil Mickelson, Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah.
Greg Norman, those guys. Freddie Couples, the guys that he was coming on the tour and beating.
Yeah.
Well, now these young guys all play the game like him. And the difference is there was one guy that came on and hit the ball really far and could overpower golf courses, and that was Tiger Woods.
Right.
Now, all these guys can because they started learning the game and trying to play like him. So now all these guys can.
Yeah, the dynamics have definitely changed.
Yeah. And for those that say, what's wrong with Tiger, it's not even as much about what's wrong with Tiger. It's just the game is better.
Oh, yeah.
The players are way better. The caliber of play is way better.
He pushed his body for so long, and then at some point, injuries, surgery.
Over-pushing in PEDs will get your body to break down like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Daniel Berger is the only rookie to make the Tour Championship this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he had a heck of a week last week because he went into Chicago at Conway Farms ranked 46th, and only the top 30 made it. He played so well, he moved from 46 all the way up to 9th.
What? Now that's a jump.
Yeah.
He
finished second.
Okay.
6 strokes behind Jason Day, but he finished second.
I think is he currently 6?
It's so early. I'm not even looking at
that.
Yeah, I'm not even looking at the leaderboard till probably Saturday morning.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But for me anyway. But he moved from 46th all the way up to 9th with his second place finish.
That's mental perseverance, right there.
Yeah. Well, and he's a rookie. He played well early in the year. He's from Florida. He played at Florida State.
Okay.
And so he did well in the Florida courses, and then he struggled in the middle of the summer, and then he started playing a little better towards the end of the year. And That's clutch right there when you're on the
he's
outside
hungry.
looking in.
He's hungry.
And if I don't do something, my season's over this week.
He wants a seat at that table, and I don't blame him.
Another guy who finally let's take to the other hand. So you got a rookie like Daniel Berger, who is the only rookie to make
The cut.
the top 30. And then you got Harris English, University of Georgia alum, who has won a few times on tour, who is in that young class of golfers that, he's in that same age range as Jason Day and Rory and Ricky Fowler and those guys. The last 2 years, he finished 32nd and 31st.
Oh, wow.
Going into the Tour Championship. Just missed out on getting in.
Wow.
He finally got over the hump, and he made it all the way to 30th. But he's in.
That's all that matters.
So you're saying there's a chance.
He's at the table.
But
right?
he's in, right?
Yeah, he's
So
dancing.
he's playing. He's getting more experience.
Yep.
Now, for him, they put up the scenarios on, if you go to PGAtour.com, they put up the scenarios for what it takes for every what has to happen for every player to have a chance to win,
right?
Not just the tournament, but win
overall
the FedEx Cup Championship. And when you get down to anybody above, the mid-teens, it starts to get comical, like what has to happen. So for Harris English at the 30th player, the last player in the field,
right.
Not only does he have to win, but like Jason Day has to finish like 7th. Ricky Fowler or Jordan Spieth has to finish like 6th. Ricky Fowler has to finish like 5th or no better than that. Bubba Watson, who's the 5th one up there, he's got to finish like no better than tied for 4th or something. It's a funny, and plus some other things have to happen. It's just funny to read the crazy. I mean, obviously anything's possible.
So that's like the coach going to the water boy.
But it's not but it's not probable
right.
that even if he wins this week, all it's going to do is just going to win him $1.4 million. Because
that's
what
all.
the winner gets. Yeah.
That's all.
He's not getting the $10 million that goes along with it.
No, not
He's
at all.
getting. I would think if I was Jason Day, I'd be pretty darn happy if Harris English won the tournament.
And why is that?
Because that means that he's probably going to win the Tour Championship. Not Harris, means Jason Day.
Jason Day, yeah.
Yeah, I would. As long as he plays fairly well.
Now, see, that would go back into that whole coasting mode, though.
Oh, listen, ain't nobody coasting. There's nobody coasting. Trust me. I don't think you're got any of those guys are coasting. They all want. Listen, $10 million is a lot of motivation.
Absolutely.
For anybody, even if you already have $10 million.
Another $10 million won't hurt.
If you have $100 million, another $10 million won't hurt.
Why
It doesn't
not?
matter. $10 million. Not only is it winning the trophy because they're competitors, they're
Right.
athletes, so obviously
Right.
they want to hold the trophy, be the best. Like Jason Day made no secret that a goal of his he achieved last week with the win. He became the number 1 player in the world, and he said that when he was 17, when he was first thinking about turning pro, he wanted to be number 1 player in the world. That was his goal.
Now, here's a question.
He didn't talk about winning the Masters. He didn't talk about winning the
Right.
U.S. Open. He said, "I want to be the number 1 player in the world."
Do you think it stops there?
No. Jason Day, here's what we're going to see over the next handful of years. Jason Day, Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, Rory McIlroy, those guys, and I'll throw Ricky in there because I think it's going to come. He's been playing really well, but he hasn't even won a major yet, but I'll throw his name in the ring. And I think Dustin Johnson probably will finally get over that mental hump and win one too, but you got a handful of those guys. They're going to win a lot of majors over the next 10 years. So this is the beginning of what's going to be awesome about golf.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, think about it. Like Tiger Woods. I mean, he had his goals posted. He had, I want this, I want that. He
He
had
had 2 goals. He wanted to beat Jack Nicklaus, and he wanted to win the most golf tournaments out of anybody. That was it.
Okay. Jason Day just wants to be number 1.
Now he's achieved that. So now what's his next goal?
That's the question.
Well, now it's just going to be I'm just going to win more. I'm going to hold on to number 1. Once you get there, now it's about holding on to it.
Unless he falls off.
No.
I mean,
Here's the thing. If he doesn't win this week and Jordan Spieth or Rory McIlroy do win, they will leapfrog him because it's so close.
They're right there.
The razor thin points in the rankings. He'll get jumped if he doesn't win. Like they'll leapfrog him. But which is great. If you can't have individual sports always seem to thrive when there's a dominant figure.
Right.
Because that gives somebody to either love or hate.
Of course.
you've always, with golf, you had that, you have to have that big name. You had, go way back. You had Ben Hogan, you
Right.
had like Sam Snead,
Right.
you had Arnold Palmer, you had Jack Nicklaus, Gary
yeah.
Player, and then you had like Greg Norman,
Right.
and then we got Tiger Woods.
Right.
If you can't have one name, now when you had Palmer, you also had Player, Nicklaus. There was the
Right.
three of them, and Lee Trevino. You can throw him in there, and
Right.
guys like that. Tiger really didn't have anybody, but he was so dominant that he kind of carried it on his own.
Yeah.
If you don't have that one, which you're not going to have that one, because it is so good right now, you're not going to have one guy that just wins a lot more than everybody else. It's just not going to happen.
There's no game
Not.
changer.
There's not.
Okay.
Eventually there'll be another one,
Right.
but that guy might not even be born yet,
This is true.
or he could be in the third grade. I mean, it's a while
This is
before
true.
the next game changer comes
Yeah.
along. But what you've got is a collection of about 4, 5, 6 guys that will be going at it.
But I think that's what makes it so exciting.
Well, it as a golf fan, it's very exciting.
Oh, yeah.
What the media and what the people are crying about is they got so spoiled by having
Just
someone
one.
like Tiger
Right.
that just one guy just draws everybody to the game. That's also the downfall, because now that he's out of the limelight,
Are all those people leaving?
the casual fans do. I mean, the TV ratings show it.
Yeah.
You can't hide it. Ticket sales at events and TV ratings show that when he's in, it's up.
It's up.
Because there are people that are Tiger Woods fans, they're not golf fans.
Or they're not fans at all, just want to see him flop another shot.
Or even they're not fans. Yeah, and they're on my side of the street and they don't like him and they hope to watch him miss the cut. But the problem is, those for TV purposes, media, those people then, even if they're rooting for him to lose, will still only watch on Thursday and Friday.
Well, I think the game, and I'll even say PGA, they've done a good job at like highlighting not just the players out on the field playing, but for instance, I saw the shot of Jordan Spieth in the jet, with his buddies. I mean, that's one thing the game I think was missing for many years that they finally got with Tiger Woods, which they're kind of doing more now.
And these kids are more personable.
That's exactly it.
You can do that with them. They'll let you come to their private jet and take pictures and shoot a video. They'll let you take pictures of them on Snapchat and Instagram.
Well, wait, did you just
Twitter
see
and
Dustin Johnson's new island house is highlighted on their website?
Yes, his house has a private island.
But no putting range. I didn't understand that. Where's the putting range? Where's the golf course?
That's the course he belongs to that's down the street, probably.
Well, they could still have a little putting thing in the back. Can always be a
Some
better
guys, when
putter.
you're away, you're away.
Yeah, true.
Right?
That jacuzzi does help.
Some guys, listen, and his wife ain't hard to look at. So, I mean, or his fiance ain't hard to look at. I mean,
Well, I'll take him. You can have her.
When he's Deal.
Let's
get him on the horn and make that happen. Deal. Hope my wife's not listening. But anyway, holy cow! Hey, boss, are you listening? Are you live? You haven't said 2 words the whole show.
I've been.
You've been detained. I saw you
I've
through
been
the screen.
detained, yeah.
All right, so we're going to bring you in on this before we wrap things up because we talked about a couple of things. And by the way, we can't let her go. We got to tie her to the desk over here or something.
You think she's permanent?
I think she's probably permanent. Yeah, I just decreed that, by the way.
Did you?
I'm not asking your opinion.
That's okay.
Or your permission. I
okay.
decreed it that Desi's in.
I agree with you that Desi's in.
Desi's in.
She fits.
Okay, Jason, who's your winner this week?
My winner this week, Jason Day takes it all.
Okay, Jason Day. If Jason Day wins, is he the player of the year?
Absolutely. No question about it. I understand that Jordan Spieth won the 2 majors and all that, but that was earlier in the year. And
yeah, but it's called the player of the year, not the player of the last 2 months.
I don't care. But the human nature is to value what's happening now.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
But think about the guys who are voting on this.
Yep.
And it's player of the year is voted on by the players on the tour.
Yep.
Okay.
And they all played against Jason Day these last 2 months.
Yeah, but they also got whipped by Jordan Spieth.
It's going to be a tough decision. I'm just telling you my opinion.
The thing is, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
Now, personally, 2 majors in a year,
Yep.
It's huge.
it's almost hard.
Yeah, it's hard to argue either way.
And then the other thing behind it, and this is my argument when people, we've gotten this discussion about your boy Tiger, that not only did he win 2 majors, but he finished 3rd and 2nd in the other 2.
Yeah.
So he was there. He's, a couple of shots away from,
Yep.
historical stuff. Plus, he won 3 other times.
And
it's not like those are the only 2 wins he had.
We watched it and reported on it.
Yeah, he won the John Deere. He won something else earlier in the year. He's won 3 other times. So it's not like Well, he only won the 2 majors. He didn't do anything else. I don't know. Listen, I'm not gonna. I'm not when they make the announcement. I'm not gonna come on here the next time we have a show and be like, that was a terrible decision.
Yeah.
Unless they name, somebody
else.
Not one of those 2.
Anybody
unless anybody else.
Right.
Anybody other than those 2.
Unless it's
Unless it's
anybody
Tiger
else.
Woods and you're not
Unless
gonna-
it's anybody else. Even if it's like, Ricky Fowler, say Ricky Fowler wins this week.
Yeah.
And he's in that situation. If he wins this week, he wins the Tour Championship.
Yeah.
And that would be his 4th win this year.
Yeah.
But he's still not Jason Day or
No,
Jordan
he's
Spieth.
still not Jason Day or Jordan.
Now, any other year,
Yeah.
that wins him the Player of the Year.
Yeah.
You realize that, right? Four wins, 3 on tour, 1 he won the Scottish
Yeah.
Open.
Yeah.
Any other year, that probably gets him the Player of
As
the Year.
we've
by
talked
the
about
way.
many times on this network this year, we're seeing the best golf in history right now.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it.
And these guys right here, you're talking about the guys all in contention right now. You're looking at Day, Spieth, Fowler, DJ, Brooks Koepka,
Holmes kept
JB Holmes,
Berger.
Daniel Berger, who's the only rookie to make the top 30. Bubba Watson, still young enough. These guys, Hideki Matsuyama, get a little. Those guys in the next 10 years are going to win 40 majors.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. And if you couple with that, what's happening in college golf, what's happening in on the amateur side,
you don't even know
and who's coming. There's a whole nother barrage of these kind of guys right behind them that
Yes.
they influenced.
Yes.
Okay. So golf is in great shape.
Yeah.
In terms of entertainment and
Yes.
the value and quality of the play coming,
Yeah.
I have no worries whatsoever, man. It's going to be nothing but fantastic in the next decade.
Yeah, but you're going to see Jason. You're going to see these guys in the final pairings or the last 3 or 4 pairings on Sundays.
Yep.
For decades.
Yep.
The next 2 decades,
Absolutely.
we're going to see these
I
guys
agree.
going at it.
Yeah.
Until the next, well, maybe not, because the next young group might come along and
Yeah.
say, "See you, fellas, it's our turn now." But these guys are so good.
The only thing I got to say to Jason Day is take heed to the Tiger situation, because he's got a very similar kind of violent swing, and if he doesn't tone that thing back, if he tries to swing like that until he can't swing anymore, he's going to be in an injury situation too.
I think he probably might be a little smarter and also can learn from example.
Yeah, that's
when
what
it
I'm
comes
saying.
to that.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's just riding this current wave.
Yeah.
I think if he
like
tries
right
to
now?
change anything up, I mean,
I agree.
I
Yeah.
think for him now it's working. I think it's got him in his groove. He's definitely showing a lot of physical perseverance with it. As we were talking about earlier, to bounce back from the Open, like that's crazy,
Yeah.
But I think you touched on something too, that you talked about how they only remember what's going on today.
Yep.
So I think all that Jordan Spieth needs to do to win is when he comes off that private jet, wear the green jacket.
Yeah.
You're like, hey,
Listen,
like you just in case you forgot.
Just in case I did win this thing.
Yeah, I
no
did
doubt.
do this.
No doubt, right? By the way, in case y'all forgot,
Yeah.
this is me.
This is me.
I'd be wearing the green jacket, carrying the U.S. Open trophy.
Jordan Spieth
Oh,
wins this
absolutely.
thing. It's a hands down no brainer.
Oh, without question.
Yeah.
Here, I tell you what. You want to talk about youth in the PGA Tour? 9 players: Daniel Berger, Robert Streb, J.B. Holmes, Kevin Kisner, Danny Lee, Stephen Bowditch, Brooks Koepka, Sang-Moon Bae, and Harris English are all making their Tour Championship debut.
Wow,
That's a third of the field.
That's amazing.
that's crazy.
That's a third of the field is there for the first time.
That's a great article right
And
there.
every one of those guys, and it's not like there's an old soul that finally got a chance.
Yep.
Every one of those guys is under 30.
Yep.
I mean,
It's a new wave coming in.
it absolutely. I mean, the old dog had to withdraw.
Yep.
Jim Furyk.
Yep.
If you look at it that way, the old guy had to bow out because he got an injury. I mean, he didn't play last week. He had to pull it out last week too. So it's interesting that we've talked about it so much here that as we come to the end of the season and the last event, that it still circles right back to what we've been talking about.
Yep.
On this show, on the other shows. I've written blogs about it. Youth is being served
Absolutely.
on the tour.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong; it's always fun for all of us to see Mickelson go out and win, or when an old guy when Furyk wins, when you get a little nostalgic. Oh man, the guy still got it. When somebody like that throws up, Or you see like Jerry Kelly this year where
Oh,
he was
yeah.
getting top tens. That's fun. Guy's 47 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Davis Love at 51
Yeah.
got a win a few weeks ago. I mean, that's still fun because you know those guys. Like for someone of my age, 40, 41, I when I was a kid, they were young.
Yeah.
So those guys, they were in their prime. They were in these 20s when I was first starting to watch golf, 25 years ago. And so to see them still stick around and be able to get a win or a top 10 here and there or scare these young guys and say, hey, don't forget.
Yeah.
Remember you used to watch me growing up?
Yeah.
I still know how to do this.
Oh, yeah.
That's fun too.
Yeah.
But let's face it. I'm serious. That group of guys, Day, Spieth, McIlroy, Fowler, Dustin Johnson, throw in, Horschel, Harris English, Patrick Reed, those guys. In the next decade, 40 majors.
Yeah.
You count it up. They'll win because one of them will win one. 40 is the total number of majors. Wait, that's wrong. I did that math wrong. They're going to win. They'll win at least a dozen or so in the next 10 years. They're going to win a quarter of the majors. Is basically the point I'm trying to get at. They're going to win at least a quarter of them, if not more. This year they've won what? 4 of them.
Yep.
Three of the 4. Zach Johnson won the other one.
Yeah.
So they won 3 of the 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to win 15 to 20 majors in the next 10 years.
Yep.
At least. And that's fantastic. That's what we want.
Right.
That's what we need. And the better part about that is the other ones that aren't winning are going to be finishing 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th right behind them.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you want to see.
Yeah. Well,
you want to see the...
And it still leaves room for the ones that are coming up, like you
Sure.
said, college, golf.
Sure, guys we don't even know about yet.
Yeah, it's exploding.
And the guys that are still... Zach Johnson's to show up every once in a while. The guys like that have been around a little bit. Bubba's still be around for a while. Heinrich Stenson's not that much older. But, yeah, those guys, they're going to win 15 to 20 of the next 40 majors. I'm calling it right now, without a doubt. Desi's been a blast. You want to come back? I've already said you have to.
Absolutely.
So I guess I should ask, do you want to?
I appreciate you guys inviting me and definitely look forward
No,
to
listen,
coming back.
Desiree Walker, check her out. Road2par.com is her blog on her story of taking up the game of golf. And the sad thing is I'm going to ask her to go play, and she's probably going to be better than me. And it's just going to hurt my feelings. I've been playing since I was 10, and she's been playing for 10 months, and she's probably going to hit the ball better than I do. Road2par.com. Check it out. She's going to be around here. Twitter is also at...
Actually, someone stole that Twitter.
Get out of here.
I have to redo a new
Check with
Twitter
the boss.
name.
He likes to do
Yeah.
that. No, I'm just kidding. So what's your Twitter? You have to redo it?
I have to redo
Okay.
it. Yep, I will work on the
No
Twitter.
worries. We'll get it going. We'll get that out there. So we're about out of time here today, and we actually ran a little longer than we normally do. But, hey, it's the last preview of the year. What the heck? So for Jeff pushing the buttons behind the glass, Desi for joining me today, thank you again. I'm your host, Brian Steffen, the Golfmonger. Hit me up on Twitter at Golfmonger. And keep track all week long. We'll be tweeting about the Tour Championship from East Lake. Stay tuned for more great news and shows here on thegolfdirector.com.